Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today I am so excited about our video because we're going to be making, ta-da! This is the placemat pouch. This is so easy to make. If you are new to sewing, this is a great project to start with because you're not going to believe how crazy easy it is. And I know it has a zipper, don't let that intimidate you. I know it's got boxy sides. Don't let that intimidate you because this is so easy. If you've been following me for very long, you know that a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I posted this pouch, which is the exact same pouch. This is also made out of a placemat. These placemats are available at Walmart. They're by Pioneer Woman. But I posted this one a few years ago, and when I posted this one, the Facebook embroidery groups took off like crazy, and they started adding embroidery to the front. And I thought it was so cute. So there's 11 different versions of a placemat pouches now, but this is by far the most popular one. And again, this is what inspired me to start the embroidery journey. So I thought it was time for an updated video. This is the new updated placemat that's available at Walmart. And instead of a monogram, I added my full name. And I think these are so cute. You'll find these, people are making these and selling them all over Etsy. You can find them, in a lot of little shops now. So a really easy thing to make. They're very inexpensive to make and they're fully lined. If you go back and look at my older videos, I show you how to put a plastic liner in here if you wanted to use this for a makeup bag so that you can wipe it out. But really easy to make, really fun. I am going to use the Ricoma EM101 multi-needle machine. I also wanted to let you know that Ricoma is having their Black November sale. Instead of doing Black Friday, they decided to do all of November, and the best sales were at the beginning of November, and it's gradually, the prices are going back up to the normal range by the end of the month. So the sooner in November that you purchase, the better the prices are. And if you use the link below the video, you also get $100 off when you purchase a multi-needle machine. But even though I'm going to be using the EM101 on this project, I'm also going to show you how to hoop it on a single needle machine because you can absolutely make it on a single needle as well as a multi-needle machine. So that being said, let's get started. Again, if you're new to sewing, don't let this intimidate you because this is one of the easiest projects, and I can't tell you how many people messaged me after I posted this version and told me that this is what got them into sewing, and now they're making all kinds of bags and projects. So if you're interested in this one, be sure and check out my placemat pouch playlist on YouTube. I'll have that linked in the description below the video because there are 11 versions of placemat pouches and they're all super easy. So let's get started. So I'm using this bag as a reference, and we want the embroidery to be right in the center of the side. So what I'm going to do is use my tape measure and measure from that zipper to the center of the side. And that measurement is 4.5 inches right to the center. So that means we need to measure 4.5 inches down from the side. Now you need to determine which side you want to be your outside. I'm going to use the blue side as the outside. So what I'm going to do is on the blue side, I am going to measure this. Now I know this is 14 inches across, it's 14 inches wide, so 7 inches is going to be the center in that direction. So we're going to go 7 inches on the horizontal measurement, and I'm going to use a Pilot friction pen and just make a mark at the 7-inch mark, which is right here on this grid line. I like working on a cutting mat because I can keep everything lined up and make sure that it's straight. So I put that at the 7-inch mark, and now I'm measuring down 4.5 inches. And again, I can keep the placemat straight on my mat, and I know that I'm 7 inches across the top and 4.5 inches down, and I'm just going to make a little crosshair, and that's going to be my center point for my embroidery. So once we have that, I like to always print my design, and I'm just sticking a pin right in the center of the crosshair on the design. You can print this from your software. So I'm putting the pen right in the crosshair, and then I'm putting it right in the crosshair of my design. So now I know that is exactly in the center of the mark where I want it. I'm just going to use a little bit of painter's tape and tape my printed design down, and then I can remove my pen. So now what I'm going to do, and again, this is why I like working on the grid, I can put the mat across the grid, make sure it's straight, and then I can put my ruler across the grid and make sure that it's straight and that my design is straight, so that I know this is exactly where I want my embroidery to go. So I'm going to use a cutaway stabilizer. You could get away with a tearaway stabilizer on this. It'll give it a more finished look on the inside. However, I think the cutaway just gives an overall nicer stitch, and being that this could be used as a makeup bag, it may be washed frequently, and I want to make sure that it holds up. So with that being said, I am going to hoop a piece of cutaway stabilizer, and this is if you were going to use a hoop that comes with your multi-needle machine, or if you wanted to use your single needle embroidery machine. You would hoop the stabilizer just like this, and what I would recommend is floating the design on the top. And if you're not familiar with floating, that means you're not going to put the placemat in the hoop, although you could. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but you could. But I would probably just float it, which means I would center my design right in the center of the hoop, just like so. And then I would pin it down, making sure to pin in this area outside of my design so that the embroidery needle doesn't hit the pins. So I would just pin it down just like that. You could also use a little spray adhesive if you want. I just don't like to do that on something that's going to show on the inside. Now I'm actually going to use the Mighty Hoop, and I highly recommend these if you have a multi-needle machine and you like to do these bulky items. It just makes it so easy. So I'm just putting my cutaway stabilizer down on the bottom part of the hoop. Be very careful with these as magnets are so strong. I'm just centering my design in the center of the hoop, trying to make sure that it's straight. And again, this is why I like working on a grid, because I can make sure that hoop is straight, and I can make sure that the placemat is following one of the grid lines and it is straight. And then watch how easy this is to hoop. You just hold it right over the top and that's hooped. Those magnets are so strong. So let's go over to the machine and I'll show you how we would do it. But again, if you want to use a regular hoop, you can do this, just float it right on the top. So as always, the first thing we need to do when we get to the machine is transfer our file. So the first thing we do is unlock the machine, hit OK. We're going to go to File. We're going to find our design on the flash drive, so click flash drive. For me, it's this one right here. There it is. We're going to tell it to save it from here to the machine by clicking this button. Then we're going to go to the machine, and it's usually the very last one. And it's this one. And we're going to hit this last one. We're going to hit OK. Now we've got our machine set. The next thing we're going to do is tell it which hoop we're using. So we're going to go to Design Set. We're going to go to the hoops. We're going to click, I'm going to click Other because I'm using the Mighty Hoop. But if you wanted to use a hoop that came with your machine, you would click that. So I'm going to click Other, click OK. It's going to center itself up. Mind you, it doesn't know what size hoop I'm putting on here, so we're going to have to do the centering ourselves. So we're going to hit Escape. Now we're going to go to our colors, and I'm going to tell it which color I want to use, and I think I'm going to use yellow, which is my color number 5. I'm going to click number 5 and click OK. There's only one color in the design, so now we're ready to load the hoop on the machine. So I've got it on the Mighty Hoop. I've adjusted my machine to fit the Mighty Hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, slide this into place, make sure that it clicks into place on both sides. We're good. Making sure that everything is out of the way. There is nothing going to get sewn under here. So all my edges are out of the way. And so now we need to center the design with the design that we have right here. So I've got that little mark right there that we saved. So I'm going to go to my needles and I'm going to click number 1. And now I want to center this number 1 with that crosshair. I'm going to turn this light on. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. So if I pull this down, here's my cross over here. Here's my needle over here. So I need to do some adjustments. I'm going to hit escape. And I'm going to move the hoop that way a little bit. So I'm going to hit the arrow to the left. And then I need to move it back. And now that's right over my crosshair. That looks great. So let's do a trace and see if it's actually going to be fine, not hit the hoop anywhere. So I'm going to click this button. It's going to tell me that I'm going to enter embroidery status. That's fine. And I'm just looking to make sure it's going to fit. Not a problem whatsoever. So we're back in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my design. And now we're ready to stitch. Keep in mind this is a Pilot friction pen, so any ink that's left behind I will be able to erase with the heat of an iron. So we're locked. We're just going to hit start and start our project. And now you can see it shows up on the screen. Just like that, you can see our design is done. I'm just going to run an iron over it to get rid of my ink mark. So let's go ahead and take this out of the hoop. Okay, so we've got our placemat, and I just cut the cutaway around the edges, and that's how it's going to look. If you have the tearaway, you can go ahead and tear the rest of that out. But I prefer to use the cutaway on this, as it doesn't really show that much since the inside of this is white. So we've got that. The other thing that we have is a zipper that is a little bit longer than your placemat on the short edge. So my placemat is 14 inches, so I would recommend at least a 16. This one is probably a 21, 22 inch zipper, just something I had on hand. And then you need 2 pieces of fabric coordinating. You can use the Pioneer Woman fabric napkins. She's also got fabric in some of the Walmart stores now that match these. But I just grabbed a couple pieces out of my scrap bin. They're just cut to 2 by 2, and then I folded them in half, folded those edges in half, and folded it in half again, just like a binding strip. So really simple. Just folded it like that. You can make these as big or as wide, however you want. So the first thing we're going to do is stitch those closed. So I'm just going to stitch it closed on the long end. Stitch this side closed. And I might put one right down the middle. Totally optional. You don't have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one. All right. So I've got my 2 tabs sewn. So the next thing we're going to do is install our zipper. I recommend using this double-sided tape. It just makes everything a lot easier. And what I like to do is just put it on the bottom edge of the zipper, just like so. And it's sticky on one side, tape on the other, or like a paper covering on the other. So we're just going to stick that down. Just like so. Mine's rippable. Then you want to make sure that it is stuck down to your zipper really well and straight. Just going to make your life easier. Like so. And I'm going to push it down. I'm going to release the protective tape, and then I'm going to center my placemat right on top of it so that my placemat has just a little bit of distance between the zipper teeth and the placemat. Try to keep it the consistent width all the way across. And then push that into place. So it looks something like that. Now we're going to, I'm just going to stitch this down. And I'm just going to follow, or actually I'm going to go just above that line that's already there of stitching in the placemat. And back stitch. So we've got our zipper into place. You can see I have 2 lines of stitching now right there where the bottom was. All right, so now what we need to do is stitch this side down the same way. So what I'm going to do is put tape on the placemat right on the edge. Push that down. Make sure that's into place. I'm going to pull the tape off, and I'm just going to fold it around and pull this down so that I can see that it's centered, and I'm keeping the edges even with the side that I already sewed. Once I have that into place, it looks kind of like that. What we're going to do is unzip the zipper carefully. And now we know exactly where our zipper needs to be. So we can go ahead and sew this side down the same way. So I'm going to push it right under, oops. I'm going to push it right under my needle. And do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to back stitch. So now we have our zipper into place. We can zip that back up. And voila, we've got our zipper installed. Oops. So once you have that done, we're just going to turn this so that we're looking at the wrong side. So just turn it wrong side out through that tube. Like so. All right. So now you want to fold it in half so the zipper's on the top. And pull it down, make sure everything's even, and establish where the center point is. I'm going to use my fabric marker. This is a Pilot friction pen. It will erase with the use of heat. So I'm just marking that edge. I'm going to go over on the other side, make sure that I've got it centered. Again, mark that center point. Just like that. So now what we're going to do is open it up this way. So we're looking at the bottom, and we're going to line this line that we just made up with the zipper teeth on the same end. Just like so. And then you're going to clip that into place, just like that. And I'm on the side with the zipper pull. Now, if you want to add these tabs, you're going to take one of your tabs, you're going to fold it in half with the raw edges facing out. And you're just going to tuck that in between the 2 layers, right inside there. Just like that, and I like to leave a little bit of the tab sticking out just so that I know that I've caught it. And I'm going to put another clip there to hold that into place. Just like that. And you can go ahead and clip the rest of the way if you want. So we're going to do this, repeat it on this end. So we're going to line the center line with our zipper. I'm going to stick my tab in there, in between, just like so. Clip everything into place. So we have everything buttoned up, and one thing I almost forgot is we need to put this zipper pull inside. So very important. So let's undo that side, push that zipper pull, and make sure that it is inside the placemat. And I would actually unzip it a little bit further, about like that. All right. So again, line this side up, throw your tab in there in the center, and clip it. It also helps to keep these tails together if you add a little clip to the end. I think that's what I'm going to do, or you can stitch them if you want. I'm just going to clip them together just to keep them from separating. All right, so now we're going to take it over the sewing machine and we're going to stitch right inside this stitch line that is already there right on the blue part. So I'm going to put it in. We're going to back stitch. Oop, I came unthreaded. Let's try that again. All right, let me line back up here. And we're just stitching right down that line of stitching that's already there. Now we're coming up on the zipper and the tabs. So what you want to do, make sure that you slow down. And as I come over the zipper, I like to back stitch a little bit, but you're going through a lot of fabric. So slow down. Give your machine a chance to get through there. You can see how slow I'm going. It's struggling, but it made it. So I'm going to back up. All right, so we're just back stitched over it just to make sure that that zipper is secure. And we're going to go all the way to the end. Back stitch. Turn it around, we're going to do the exact same thing. Back stitch. Okay, so we've got this part all sewn. We've got our zipper 3/4 of the way open. You can actually open it all the way if you want at this point. So what we're going to do now is open it up, and we're going to line this seam up with this side crease. So I'm going to crease that really well so that I can see it. And I'm just going to pull that zipper open and line that right on top of that side seam. So I can see it inside. Should look like that. All right, so then you're just gonna kind of finger press this seam open. It's gonna give you the least amount of bulk. You're going to take a ruler and you're going to line it up one of your inch marks. So I'm using the 2-inch mark. I'm gonna put the 2-inch mark right in the center of that seam. And I am going to measure down 2 inches from that corner. And I'm gonna make a mark, which should be 4 inches across. So from here to here, this mark is 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark that just like so. I'm going to hold that into place while I pin this so that it doesn't move. So that is my 4-inch mark. All right, so if you need to see that again, we're going to be doing it 4 more times, but I'm going to take this to the sewing machine right now and I'm going to stitch right on top of that line. And again, we're back stitching at the beginning and the end. All right, so we've got one done. It looks just like that. So this is how it was. Now we've got that corner done, so we're gonna do this side. So we're gonna crease that side, just like that. You're gonna open this up and let this seam right here fall right here. So we're gonna open it up and I'm gonna lay that seam right down on that one. I'm going to open this up. We're going to take our ruler. I'm going to use that 2-inch line, measure 2 inches down. We're going to make a mark from edge to edge. Pin it into place. And now I'm going to sew right on top of that line. So we've got that side done. Now we need to repeat that on this side. So again, just going to, I'll do this side first so you can see it. We're going to open that up and push this down right on that crease. Open the seam up, measure 2 inches down. 1, 2. Got a 4-inch across line so we know we're right. Flip it, sew it. And repeat on the last corner. Okay, so it should be looking something like this. It kind of looks funny. What we're gonna do is cut our corners off, and we're gonna leave about a 1/4 inch seam allowance right there at the edge on all 4 corners. Once you have all of your corners cut off, what we're going to do is you can either zigzag across this edge to keep it from fraying and just to clean it up so that it looks a little nicer, or if you have a serger, which is what I'm going to do, go ahead and serge all 4 of those raw edges. So you can see I went ahead. So I just want to show you up close what I meant by serging your edges. So if you have a serger, this just gives a really nice finish to the inside of the bag. But again, if you don't worry about it. You can just zigzag the edges and that will keep that from fraying. So all that's left to do is to turn your bag right side out. Make sure that you poke those corners out. Will make a big difference. And then I like to give it a press over at the iron to give it that really boxed corner look. But it's cute, just soft and cushy too. Totally up to you. But once you have it all right side out, again, I like to take it over to the iron and give it a press, but this is your finished boxy bag. So I hope you enjoyed this remake of my earlier placemat pouch video. And again, I will have the playlist linked below where I have 11 other versions. Keep in mind, these make really great gifts for the holiday season, and they're relatively inexpensive to make. I think one placemat is $3.97 if I remember correctly. Also, if you're interested in the Ricoma EM101, the sale runs through the end of November, but the earlier in November you order, the better the pricing. Using the link below will save you $100. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified every time there is a new video. Also, I will link some other placemat pouch videos right here, and you can click the logo right there and subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys. Bye.